Hello and welcome to episode, I think it's 7. Is it 7 now? I don't know. I've lost count, right? Of Popcorn King, I guess is the name of the show. Still just talking about films, really. But this week we've got some special things. So I've seen a couple of good films. I'm going to do a couple of trailer reactions. There have been a few new trailers out recently, like yesterday. So I'm going to watch them for the first time ever. Saved them specifically for you. And then I'm also just going to talk about the Oscars again. I think that today I'm going to break down the acting categories. So a lot of stuff to get through. So let's start off with my first movie review. Companion. Companion is the new Sophie Thatcher movie starring Sophie Thatcher. It's a I guess I'll give the IMDb sort of, because there's lots of spoilers you can have in this film, basically. So basically, it's a billionaire's death sets off a chain of events for Iris and her friends during a weekend trip to his lakeside estate. Okay, it's kind of a confusing way to say that on IMDb, but basically, you do have to be careful what you say about this film, because the first big twist happens about 15 minutes into the film. And honestly, I don't want to spoil that twist. I'll talk about it maybe a little bit later, but for now, with the non-spoilery part, that the twists come quick, the twists come fast in this film, and that's a big one. And it's fun watching the first part of the film and not know. In fact, I would even recommend don't watch the trailers for this film, because I think the trailers give away that twist. And I hadn't watched the trailers for this. I just went to watch the film. And I was like, this is good, this is good, this is good. 15 minutes in, I'm like, wait, what? And like a big twist happens, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. I was not expecting that twist. So really fun, and there's twists throughout, really fun to just not really know. So I guess that that summary of the film on IMDb, as vague as it is kind of as much as you can say. Yeah. Some people go to this billionaire's house on a lakeside, and the billionaire dies, and then things happen, basically. So, yeah, basically, what did I think of this film? I thought this film was great. For films that are released in January, I mean, in England it's a little bit different, all right? Because in England, we get a lot of the sort of Oscar-y movies released in January. But I know that in the States, North America, those Oscar-y movies all have to be released in the year that they want it to be nominated, right? So they want all those the Brutalists and A Complete Unknown, those type of films. They need to have it released in the year they want it to be nominated for the Oscars. So they all come towards the end of the year, because that's sort of the closest eligible time you can be nominated for the next Oscars. So the Oscars that are coming up, I think they're in March, right? It's the films that were all in 2024, basically. So all those films came out in 2024. But for the UK, it's well, it doesn't matter if we don't release it in 2024 in the UK. What we'll do is we'll wait until they get nominated for different awards and stuff, and then we can have it on the posters, so that'll be even better. So yeah, in order for it to be nominated, it has to be released in North America, but then to get those big quotes, they can release it in the UK January in the next year, So January is not bad in the UK. But I'm aware, when I'm watching Brutalist, when I'm watching things like A Complete Unknown and A Real Pain, I'm aware I'm sort of watching last year's films just a bit late. But for films that have actually come out this year, usually films that come out in January aren't good. It's sort of the dumping ground of films. But Companion, it came out, and technically it was January, and I was like, that was a great film. Really, really, really fun film. Very Black Mirror-esque. A new technology type of thing going on here. It's really creative, really, really inventive. I really, really enjoy that actress. What's her name? Sophie Thatcher, is that the main actress in this? So she was one of the main actresses in that Hugh Grant horror film about, they were Mormons or something, right? What was that film called? Heretic, and I thought she was great in that film. And she's great in this film as well. There's 2 films in a row that I've seen her in that I'm just like, this girl's awesome. And I don't think I'd really seen her before, but she's really, really good in this film. And like I say, the twists and turns in this film are creative. They're fun. They're interesting. It's delving into very Black Mirror-y type of ideas. And yeah, I just think this film was really, really good. I really recommend it. I kind of am curious what you guys thought about this film. I will talk a little bit about spoilers now. So if you want to know nothing, which I kind of recommend, you know, don't watch anymore. Okay. But basically, spoilers starting now. It's about AI, these love robots. It's called companion because these are sort of companion robots, but really they're just sort of, I guess, sex robots, but you can, create a connection with them. And yeah, it does. You watch it and you think, damn, is this going to really happen one day? Like, is it already happening? I remember seeing the Joaquin Phoenix film, Her, and just falling in love with that film. I thought that film was so romantic and so beautiful and really interesting delve into what it means to be in love with another human or like a talking device. Like, can you fall in love with something like that? And this film blurs the edges of when does a machine feel, right? Because the main girl in this is like a robot who doesn't know she's a robot. But can she really feel? Like, what is feeling? What does feeling even mean? Like, yeah, she reacts pain when you hurt it, right? But is that feeling? You could say, yeah, but I don't know if there's any conscious experience behind that. Or is it just a car? Is it like a car ringing an alarm? If you kick a car, the alarm goes off, right? Is the car in pain? I don't think so. But make it a bit more complicated. Is it in pain? I still don't really think so. But these robots, is it just because they look human that my sympathy is with it? Or is it but it's still just basically a car with an alarm system. So if you punch this robot in the face, it'll yell in pain, but that's just the same as a car with an alarm. But then maybe we're just the same as a car with an alarm. Like, maybe that's just what being conscious is. I don't know. But really interesting themes and interesting topics. And I just think, sorry, I'm coughing. I'm always coughing these days. I don't even smoke. I just think these, the themes in this film, for me personally, are some of the most interesting things, because I reckon we're going to be really tackling these questions within the next sort of 10 to 20 years. These are questions that ethicists, like people who study ethics and stuff, are going to really have to tackle here, because who knows where consciousness begins and where it ends. But yeah, I just find it I find it so interesting. Really curious to hear what you think. Should we be slapping robots in the face? Maybe. Moving on to the next film. The next film I saw was a little movie called Hard Truths. So Hard Truths is the new Mariam John Baptiste film, starring Mariam John Baptiste, directed by Mike Leigh. Very British film. Just the first shot, you're like, oh, it's England. It just looks so England. There is such a difference, right? That if you just record, film a shot of a street in England, a normal street where houses are, and a street in North America, you're like, oh, there's such a difference. And there really is. And I can really sense it when I see this. I'm like, oh my God, it's so English, so British. What is this film about? The ongoing exploration of the contemporary world with a tragicomic study of human strengths and weaknesses. That's not really a synopsis. That's just an idea. It's really just following this lady, played by Mariam John Baptiste, who is clearly suffering from a massive amount of depression. She wants to just sleep. She wants everything to just be over. That's all she wants. And every day is a battle with absolutely everything. Everything pisses her off. She's so grumpy and annoyed. And yeah, the film just sort of, basically, it's just her. It's just following her as she interacts with people at the supermarket, interacts with like her sister and her sister's kids, and her own family. Just following her, just wanting to be in bed, being in pain, knowing she's in pain, and she has to inflict her opinion on absolutely everyone all the time. And just following her, it's kind of suffocating, right? It's just this incessant complaining. Just and it's so realistically done, but I've never, it's not realistic to the amount that it's done. So her character is so believable, as with like all Mike Leigh films. The character is like, have they got a real person and they've just filmed this real person? Like, the character is so real. But the amount that every little thing pisses her off, it's funny at first. It's so funny because it's just like the witty lines of someone who's pissed. If you're like eloquent and pissed off, sometimes that makes you the funniest person ever, because a pissed off person coming up with those witty, direct, back and forth lines with somebody, like, it's just, it can be so funny to watch. Like, look at you, stood there like a fucking giraffe. Like, to this lady who just stood there like innocently at the shopping, and she did look a bit like a giraffe. Like, the ability to sort of deconstruct someone and come up with an observation like that shows like such intelligence, really, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, just so interesting to see her. But it goes from being funny to slowly being like, okay, well, what is this? What's going to happen in this film? Is there an arc? She's clearly just absolutely depressed, and nothing is abating this depression at all. And you're like, if this doesn't stop soon, I feel like I'm going to have to walk out, because it's suffocatingly incessant. I can't be around a person like that. Like, in real life, no way. I can't like suffer it for too long. I used to live with a guy who complained a lot, and I remember once he was just, the kettle was too loud, or so I can't remember what it was. The kettle, and he was just, oh, fucking loud kettle. And it was he was the one who put the kettle on, and I remember just like shouting at him, like, oh, fuck's sake, it's just a fucking kettle, like, grow up. Like, I can't handle it. And that's probably the only time I ever got angry with someone who complains that often. It's like so distressing if it goes on and on and on and on and on, and not in a funny way. So yeah, just watching her get pissed off and pissed off and pissed off by every little thing, I just was like, fuck, I might have to leave the cinema soon, because this is intolerable. It was funny at first. It was actually hilariously funny at first. Then it was like, is anything else going to happen in this movie? And then you realize, probably not. And then you're like, fuck, this is actually like it's a mental work for me to stay here, because I'm distressed watching someone be like this. There is some arc, if I'm honest with you. There is a moment in there where she stops and she's upset and maybe a bit more contemplative, but it actually ends with no kind of... I was really surprised when it ended. There's not much of an arc. He's really testing the limits of how little he can follow like a 3-act structure. There's really not much of it here. It's just like, fuck, this is life for some people, and then it kind of ends. And everybody's performance is top form, I have to say. There are some random parts of this film where I'm like, that led absolutely nowhere. There's bits where the girl is like lying about how well she did in her work, and you're like, okay, that's going to come back later. But no, like, never mentioned again. And you're like, was that Chekhov's gun? Like, I don't know, like, Don't reference things then. But then again, like, Mike Lee's not really doing your conventional 3-act structure of a film. It's more like these are real people. It kind of feels like this. It's like he's got into a room with amazing actors and given them months and months and months to prepare and just bounce off each other and just talk. And he's given them ideas. And then he's like, okay, let's just start filming. And there's no like proper storyline happening, but you are like kind of enthralled by the acting and the characters, and you're kind of you're there hoping, but it doesn't ever really get resolved. And yeah, painful to watch. Hard truths though. I fucking thought great film, like really really good film. Really really enjoyed the performance. Like it's one of those films where maybe me sitting there watching the film didn't give me the most enjoyment. However, I've really enjoyed the process of thinking about that film and analyzing that film after the fact. Like, it's kind of rare that a film sticks in my brain for that long, and I'm still thinking about it now. I'm still thinking, like, because it just felt like such a real person, stretched to 11. You know, just I wanted to hug her, help her, calm her down, tell her everything's all right. But depression isn't really like that. There's something physically broken. It feels like when you watch her, and you're like, wow, no amount of sort of logical discourse with this person is really gonna help them. I feel like there's something else that needs to be done, and I don't know what it is. I'm not, not a professional, but I just really, really wanted to hug that angry lady. Anyway, on to the next film. So the next film I watched was Flight Risk, the new Mark Wahlberg film, starring Mark Wahlberg, directed by Mel Gibson, which I didn't know until at the end of the film when it said directed by Mel Gibson. Also starring some other actors I don't really know. What is this film about? This is what IMDb says. A pilot transports an air marshal accompanying a fugitive to trial. As they cross the Alaskan wilderness, tensions soar and trust is tested, as not everyone on board is who they seem. 10 points for anyone who can guess who's who in this film. It's just Mel Gibson's worst film. It was not a good film at all. Sorry for coughing, Mel Gibson, but you kind of deserve it, mate. Listen, Mel Gibson has made some of my absolute favourite films ever. I think Apocalypto, and I don't care how inaccurate it is, I just think that film is enthralling to watch. Like, Apocalypto, there's no film like that. It's so interesting, so exciting, so detail oriented. I don't know the right word. And just this car chase on foot, basically, is how I've heard him describe it, and that's what it is. It's this big chase. I've never seen any films with the Mayans in it, and it's just like, this is incredible. Braveheart, one of the absolute classics. Passion of the Christ, like, that film is such a bombastic piece of filmmaking, right? To tackle that and make it in that old Hebrew language and do that film, just torturing Jesus for 2 hours. Like, let's torture Jesus for 2 whole hours, basically. So bombastically brave as a director, right? That's how I feel about Mel Gibson when he directs a film. That film about the war, Hacksaw Ridge, it just feels like he's very brave and he's going to tell his story in like as bombastically as possible, and he's just going to be epic about it, and he's not going to hold back. There's going to be gore, he's not going to filter anything, and it's going to be pure entertainment and excitement. These films are. And then this film is all set on a plane with 3 actors with the most predictable storyline ever and some of the worst acting I've seen in a long time. The best performance was like an air traffic controller on the phone. This sort of, I guess maybe the accent was Indian. It sounded Indian. Charming, funny, helpful. Just that, whenever he came on, I was like, that's great. Great little voice performance there from that guy. But like everything that happens on this plane, like the actor of the guy being transported, the fugitive, the guy who's going to be a witness, I guess, is acting so weird. Like he hasn't. There's no part of his personality that feels like fits this character at all. At some points he's really flirty. At some points he's jokey. At some points he's terrible. And it's just like these don't suit you. Like for the person that you are, you've come up with, the actors come up with character traits which I feel like are not connecting at all to this person and the situation they're in. The main police officer lady, not good either. Like I didn't get that sense of something bad happening in the past from her, which, you know, happens in all these police dramas. Like, oh, this police officer has had something bad happen in the past. Like, like, well, Mel Gibson. Stick with Mel Gibson, right? Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon 1, the torture and pain he's going through because of something that's happened to him is incredible to watch, and you can feel it, and it runs through that story like a freight train. The gun in his mouth, the acting, the fear of not being able to commit suicide and having to go out and be this cool police guy in this cool action film. Like that storyline in that, like a police officer who's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, yet he's this cool guy in the rest of the film. Great, wonderful. In this film, like that's Mel Gibson, he's done that. And in this film, you've got a similar situation with this lady. Like something's happened in the past with this female police officer. And it's like, yeah, like no attention or time is really given to that, and it's weird, and they expect these moments which I don't feel are earned. And then there's like these Mark Wahlberg accents. It's so weird. Why is he bald? Like he's bald for some reason with one of the worst bald caps I've ever seen. You can literally see like the makeup there, and it's like, who did, like, why is he bald? Firstly, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And who did the makeup? Like, it looks so bad. And the accent that he's doing at the beginning, I know it's put on, but just strange acting choices from everyone, I have to say, apart from the Indian guy on the telephone, although he's probably not even Indian. And Mark Wahlberg's character makes no sense. Like, he just doesn't seem to care if he's gonna die at all. Like, there's so many instances where it's like, oh wow, you're like a suicide bomber. But for what? Like, for what reason? Like, surely if you're working for like a mobster, you're like a hired hand, you're doing things for money. He's just suicidal, basically, in this film. And I'm like, are you expecting to become this martyr? Like, what are you? Are you a martyr? Are you expecting paradise after life? Gee, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. And like they'd have these big fights on the plane, the female police officer and Mark Wahlberg, and she'd knock him out and then attend to things, and I'm like, tie him up. Like that should be your priority. Tie him up straight away. But yeah, just I have to say that film was remarkably bad. Remarkably bad. Remark Wahlbergably bad. Remark Wahlbergably bad. Anyway, I think it's time. I've been so excited for these. I think it's time to do some trailer reaction. What am I going to watch first? You guessed it, the first Fantastic Four trailer. I feel like that I didn't give it enough importance. The Fantastic Four trailer. I am going to react to it and see what it's all about because everyone's talking about it and I need to see it. And it's the new it's going to be the new Marvel. I know we've had like a million Fantastic Fours, right? Oh, that's an advert. We've had a million Fantastic Fours and all of them have been bad. So, my money's on this being bad, but it's finally owned by Marvel. So it's the Kevin Feige effect, right? Am I right? So let me just get this set up. What am I expecting to see this? We've got a great cast. Vanessa Kirby, the guy from Stranger Things, the guy from The Bear, and the guy from Game of Thrones. All those actors. Great TV actors jumping up to the movies. Here we go. Here we go. The Fantastic Four First Steps trailer. Okay.
Welcome to the Baxter Building.
Vanessa,
We make a point to do
Vanessa
family
Kirby?
dinner every week.
Pedro Pascal.
Sunday at 7 on the dot, no matter what. We're all here.
Lovely. Here we go. We're in.
Herbie, how's that sauce coming? Yeah, I'll be the judge of that.
Awful special effects. Looks like a cartoon.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, but that's like a
This guy
callback
good or
to
what?
The Bear, so that's awesome.
I want to add a couple cloves of garlic. Not because it's not delicious, I just want to add a little bit of zip, okay?
Yes, chef. Should have said yes, chef. July.
Before we went up the first time, you couldn't turn invisible.
Okay,
That
that's
wasn't
good.
a rock.
Good effects.
pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking, he means.
Not best looking
Johnny
anymore.
caught fire.
There we go. Oh, that doesn't look too bad.
Been a rock. Johnny is Johnny.
Hi.
And I am right here.
Nice.
Whatever life throws at us.
How high can you fly? Oh, here we go. It's Galactus, or Galactic, whatever his name is. The flying car, right? We're going to see it fly? That's Gandalf for some reason. There he is, Galactus.
As a family.
She took Vin Diesel's line. As a family. As a family. July 25th. Welcome to the family. Gee, that was... Okay, that was... Okay, I've got mixed feelings about that. The rock monster thing guy. The thing. Looks like a cartoon from like a kid's film. In fact, it did kind of seem a bit TV. And it's directed by the guy who did One Division, right? It's his whole thing. But I liked some parts of it did feel cinematically big. The whole like, oh, he's always been a rock. That's awesome. And like Johnny, like, you know, Johnny's sort of always been on fire as well. Like he's a hot-headed guy. And yeah, maybe Sue Storm's always felt invisible. So one of those things. We didn't get to see the stretchy guy do his thing. Mr. Fantastic, I guess his name is. But Galactus looks... Isn't his head supposed to be the size of a world, but his shadow just about covers the Statue of Liberty in this film? So yeah, I guess he's a lot smaller. Or maybe he's changed size. I think this is, you know, upped my level of excitement. Now I'm like, okay, this could be... It didn't blow me away, but this could be a not shit Fantastic Four. So let's just fingers crossed for that, because... You know, Marvel... Why was Gandalf in this? Was that Gandalf? Who was that? It looked like... I don't know who it was. It was an actor I recognised. But yeah, he looked a bit like Gandalf. Maybe Gandalf's in this. Who shall not pass? I'm curious. This is what I'm interested in. Because this looks like it's not set on our Earth. It looks like a different universe, right? Because... It's sort of set in the 60s, but that doesn't look like our Earth 60s. So it looks like an alternate 60s, I guess. But I don't know. It looks a little bit weird. But I'm just curious, how are they going to get into our universe? Because that's the goal, right? We're going to get to the X-Men, Fantastic Four, everybody in our Marvel universe on our sort of Earth that we know. With Captain America and Iron Man, even though they're not there anymore. But, you know, those characters, all the people on this Earth, like, we're going to get there. But how? Like, I'm kind of bored of this multiverse-y stuff. But if they're starting in a different universe, hopefully they get to our universe by the end. And I kind of liked it, though. I heard it's got massive numbers for a trailer, like especially a teaser trailer. that can only bode well for its projections when it comes to ticket sales. But yeah, that upped my excitement. I have to say, my excitement has been upped. So let me know what you thought. Did you think that Ben Grimm, the thing, the rock monster, did you think he looked a little bit shit? Like me? And not that I look like shit, but I thought he looked shit. I make sense. Okay. Next, I'm going to be doing a reaction of... I'm going to be doing a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Rebirth reaction. So the new Jurassic Park movie with Scarlett Johansson, starring Scarlett Johansson, is coming out later this year, and that's in my most anticipated films of the year. I'm a huge Jurassic Park guy. Everyone knows that. So I'm gonna watch the trailer for this movie, and I'm freaking excited. Just bear me a moment. Let me get it ready. So here it is. Okay, so I'm so excited. I think Jurassic Park, the first film ever, is one of my favourite films of all time. The adventure, the dinosaurs, the excitement. I think Scarlett Johansson's beautiful. I think Mahershala Ali, whatever his name is an incredible actor. And Jonathan Bailey's just killing it at the moment with Wicked. So let's just get straight into Jurassic World Rebirth, the official trailer. Let's go. Here it is.
Dr. Henry Loomis, this is Zora Bennett, our mission specialist.
She's beautiful.
Sorry, what mission?
He's beautiful.
This would be a medical breakthrough that
I
could
like
save
that already.
countless lives. It comes from the largest dinosaurs on the planet.
Oh my God. Fortunately
Yes.
for us, all these species exist in one isolated place. Can you be ready tomorrow?
He's kind of handsome
I
as
can
well.
guarantee your safety. I mean, more or less.
More or less?
Here we go.
He's your guy.
There he
Welcome
is.
That
Blade.
things and people in and out of places they shouldn't be.
Move up towards Barbados, avoid government patrol, but there aren't that many anymore.
This
Why's
looks
that?
like an adventure. This is giving me Jurassic
No
Park
one's
Lost
dumb
World
enough to go
vibes.
where we're going.
This island was the research facility for the original
Okay.
Jurassic Park.
Okay.
We need DNA from the 3 biggest dinosaurs.
Do we have to get a sample from an egg?
I
Okay.
suppose we could try and get it from the parent.
seen
but
too
they're
many
flying carnivore
dinosaurs,
the size of
but-
an F-16.
Human-centric stories are great.
Maybe we should make it quick.
Yes. Okay. Okay, that's Jurassic Park 3, right? Scarlett Johansson's such a boss.
These dinosaurs were too dangerous for the original park.
Please don't say they're raptors. They're raptors.
The worst of the worst
Oh my lord.
were left here.
Kids are there for some reason. There's always a kid there. On the dangerous island. And you do.
We put
Yes,
ourselves in a place
that
we
one.
don't
The one
belong.
that looks like King Kong. What was that?
Survival is a long shot.
What the hell are those?
They're helping the mosasaur. Defend
Okay.
territory, stalk, hunt.
None of what you just said is good.
Oh, excited. In theaters, July. July is going to be such a good month. You know, Fantastic Four and Jurassic World. Okay, well, let me gather my thoughts. Good and bad, good and bad, good and bad. Good. We're back on the island. Like, I was getting a little bit bored of dinosaurs in our world. That most recent Jurassic World film was a bit strange. It didn't feel right. I like the adventure of being sort of on an unknown land, you know? It did give me Lost World vibes and maybe even Jurassic Park 3 vibes, which weren't the best films, but I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them a little bit, apart from the silly bits, like the gymnastics kick and the talking dinosaur dream. But this film gives me adventure vibes, and it gives me human-centric vibes, which is what Jurassic Park the first one was. It was a very human-centric story with dinosaurs there. Like, dinosaurs are exciting enough. You don't need to add a gritty backstory to a dinosaur, if you know what I mean. So, let's just have these humans here on this island having this adventure, and it's supposed to be terrifying. I want it to be terrifying. It doesn't look like it's going to be scary. That's the only thing. It does look family friendly, which is fine. It's the Steven Spielberg's one was family friendly, but the first one was legitimately scary. These were monsters chasing them, whereas this, I'm not getting any sense of fear. I really do enjoy this director's stuff though, so I have a lot of faith in this film. I don't need Jurassic Park to be full of dinosaurs non-stop with, training raptors to be in the army and all that stuff. I don't need that. They can be there in the background and they can show up in important times. And that's what that director's really good at. He's good at sort of like saving it and letting the tension build. So hopefully this film, the trailer is indicative of that. It's a human-centric story, and these dinosaurs, like, waiting for the spectacle of the dinosaur is going to make the spectacle even better. So yeah, that's all I can hope for. I think the trailer was quite good. These films are always so successful. I hope it's successful because I just love dinosaur movies. I've always loved dinosaurs. I think they look so cool, so scary, so terrifying. But yeah, just let me know what you thought. Did you think there was enough dinosaurs in that trailer? Anyway, on to the final part of the video. We are going to talk about the Oscar nominations for the Best Actor race. I'm just going to get the Best Actors up on my screen. So the Oscar nominations 2025. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's get the official list up from the Academy Awards. Okay, good. So here we go. Actor in a leading role. I'm going to analyze the actor and best actresses in the leading role who have been nominated for the Oscar. I have some thoughts, and I think some of these races are a little bit up in the air at the moment, I have to say. So let's start off with actor in a leading role. So the nominees are, I'll just go through it one by one and tell you my thoughts of it. So number one, Adrian Brody. It's alphabetical. It's alphabetical by surname. Okay, so Adrian Brody, the brutalist. Towering, incredible performance. The full spectrum of emotions is shown here. Literally everything that an actor needs to do to get an Oscar is in this. You've got drug addiction. You've got getting graped. I said graped. You've got an accent. You've got discrimination because you're a minority. You've got World War II. It's got every little thing that you think an actor who deserves to win an Oscar should be portraying. He does all of it in one film. He is incredible. So I actually legitimately think his performance was the best of the year. That's my personal opinion. And I think a lot of people probably agree. However, there's a couple of things. Number one, the film is very long. I'm not 100% sure the Academy, every single member of the Academy is going to watch this all and be able to pay attention to it all. It's a very long film. Number two, there's a little bit of controversy. Adrian Brody, this actor, has had sort of an AI tool used on his voice so that I think it's the accent and language is done sort of really authentically to the time. And I'm like, and I've said this before, but I'm like, well, that's annoying because I'm no longer just seeing his, I guess, choices as an actor. I'm seeing something enhanced, and that's annoying because if anyone's ever enhanced and other people aren't, it feels a little bit unfair. Like, Timothée Chalamet is also nominated. Have they used AI to enhance his voice to sound more like Bob Dylan? I don't know. But if you're allowed to use digital sort of enhancements to your actual performance, I don't know. Is that fair? But then again, I'm like, well, Or they use digital enhancements to make, to make you look like you're flying through the air in Wicked. That's obviously not real, but I don't know how to explain it. You wear makeup, that's some kind of enhancement. So yeah, maybe I don't know. I'm in two minds. The voice is such a personal thing. It's an instrument that comes from within you. You communicate through that, And if you start giving it enhancements, it's like, damn, where does the performance end? And I'm not saying that the technology they used on Adrian Brody is strong enough to even be noticeable. Perhaps it's barely anything. But it's something, and it's a slippery slope. And I've said that before. I think it is potentially a slippery slope. I do not think we need a computer deciding what's perfect. And that's what AI would kind of doing. So yeah, a bit annoying. I would prefer it if it was another just human editing it. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a computer deciding what's right, which is annoying to me. It's making it more data. It's like data. This is subjective sort of performances, so I don't know. Anyway, that's the ups and downs of Adrian Brody. We got Timothée Chalamet, who I just mentioned, in A Complete Unknown. His best performance, in my opinion. I honestly thought Timothée Chalamet was a tiny little bit overrated as an actor. People going, he's going to be the next Tom Hanks, he's going to be the next Daniel Day-Lewis. And I was like, he's a good actor. He's a good actor. But I've never seen him like, what's Eating Gilbert Grape with Leonardo DiCaprio. When I saw that, I was like, this guy is the truth, But I've never seen that from Timothée Chalamet. But I saw this, and I saw Bob Dylan in a sense. I was like, he's inhabited, he's done the work, he's an actor, and I just think the acting in it is very, very good. And I think he's got a chance here because I think A Complete Unknown overperformed, which makes me think the Academy as a whole, in general, are quite liking this film. It got nominated in places I didn't expect it to get nominated. So they like it. They really like it. They're nominating it for things. And more than what other people are expecting. So I just think in general, the Academy like it. And I don't think there's too much controversy surrounding this film compared to other films. So I'm like, okay, well, the Academy like this film. Timothée Chalamet's sort of on the way up, in my opinion. So I do think Adrian Brody and Timothée Chalamet are probably the front runners. Next, we got Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. Great performance, great film. I will say a few things, my own opinions. This film got some, news because it stars a lot of real actors who were really convicts in the past or even present, I think. So there's a lot of real convicts in this film. And it's great because the film is about using drama as a tool in prison to help people heal, and putting on plays and doing arts and that kind of stuff, and how that can be so healing to a human. So you'd expect this film to just be like the awards darling. However, in my opinion, my personal opinion, when I heard that fact, that there's a lot of real convicts, I was like, that makes sense. And you know why that makes sense to me? Because there's something different about Coleman Domingo in this film compared to the rest of the people. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but after some reflection on the film, I'm like, okay, well, the difference is they're being real. All the other actors are being quite real. They're being really themselves. And they're very believable because they're being real. And Coleman Domingo's acting. And that, I can see the difference, if I'm honest with you. I can see the difference. He is Coleman Domingo, the man, the actor, is putting on a performance, which he's supposed to do. He's an actor. But when you see these other people, they're being kind of real. You watch them and you go, there's no artifice there. There's no sense of pretend for a lot of these other people in it. And for me, it kind of shines a light on Coleman Domingo as like he's not in it enough. He's not deep enough in it, in my opinion. Because I can see the difference between somebody who is just real and somebody who's acting and putting on a performance. And yeah, I'm just afraid that that's my opinion on this. I think he looks like an actor trying to do the full spectrum of emotions, and he's doing it very, very, very well. It's just unfortunately it's juxtaposed with real people, and you're like, that's what real is. I'm watching them in the background, really. I'm watching Clarence Macklin more than you because that's real. It feels real. When I look at it, I don't see artifice, whereas I do see that with Coleman Domingo a little bit. I'm sorry. Great performance, just you put yourself in a bad situation where you put yourself opposite real people. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And I just don't think the Academy are enjoying this film as much as people were expecting, because it just didn't get the love. Like, people thought it would win. Like, it would be the big winner of the year. Like, last year, like, all the way back in, like, May and stuff, people were like, Sing Sing is the one. But now it's really not. It's really just, it's become a sort of nothing film. I mean, don't get me wrong, Coleman Domingo still got a chance here, but I think it's a very slim chance. Next is Ralph Fiennes in Conclave. So, Conclave underperformed in the Oscars. Honestly, I think it's on a slightly downwards trajectory. I just think it's a very, very good film, but it's no one's favourite film, unfortunately. And it is really good. The writing's really, really good. The acting's really, really good. But they're all like clerks and priests and bishops and stuff. So they're all they're kind of one-note-ish. But within that one note, the actors do an incredible good job, because there's lots of shade, but they're all calm and collected. They're all pious. They're all trying to talk with respect. The whole film, and there are moments of passion and stuff, but especially from Ralph Fiennes, it's very subdued. It's very collected, like I say, calm and collected. And he is doing a great job to just within the limitations of that to show real interest. And I was like captivated throughout the whole film. I really was. I'm just saying, perhaps he's on the back foot here because he's given less. He's given less, really, to do, which in my opinion is really, really impressive, that you can have less to do yet be captivating. Still, I think that's a sign of a wonderful performance, a wickedly good performance. I would put it probably at the same level as Timothée Chalamet. I'd put it there at number 2, but I just think, I think it underperformed in the rest of the nominations. I'm not sure the Academy are like thinking this was one of the best of this. I just don't think they think this is their favourite film of the year. It's no one's favourite, really. It's just a very, very, very good film, but it's no one's favourite. So that's just, it is what it is. I think it's slightly on a downwards trajectory at the moment, along with Sing Sing and along with The Brutalist. I think all three of those films are on a downwards trajectory. Next, we got Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice. This is one that I thought, actually, I predicted this one. I think Sebastian Stan had an amazing year for film with A Different Man and The Apprentice. He's so good in this film. He doesn't do the impression. He doesn't do the voice. He doesn't go around doing the classic Donald Trump voice. I can't do it at all, so don't even ask me to try. But he doesn't do that. But the mannerisms, the temperament, the progression from a young guy into the Donald Trump we know, it's so subtle, and then eventually you're like, it gets there, and you're like, before you know it, you're like, oh my god, I'm watching Donald Trump. Because I have to say, the first bit of the film, you're like, ooh, he looks a little bit like Donald Trump, but not really, and doesn't really sound like Donald Trump either, and isn't really even acting like Donald Trump. But fair enough, I'll just watch this film, it's quite good. And then at some point, through the back door, somehow they sneak in, and my brain is just like, hold on, I'm fucking watching Trump here. The gradual sort of metamorphosis into Donald Trump, it's so gradual that you barely notice it. But when you're there, you're like, everything is so Donald Trump. Every single intonation of the words that he's saying, even though he's not necessarily ever doing the impression or the voice, it's just the impetus behind the things that he says and does. It's so Donald Trumpy. I have to say, like, when it gets there, I think it's spot on. By the end of the film, by the last, like, fucking, I don't know, half an hour of the film, you're just like, it is spot on Donald Trump. Every motivating factor behind every syllable feels Donald Trumpy without ever feeling like an impression of Donald Trump. I think it's world-class acting. For me, I think it's one of the best performances of the year as well. I'd put that up there with Adrian Brody, honestly. But yeah, I'm not sure it's got the support. I think people think this performance is very good. I think people just hate Donald Trump, and therefore they're just like, I don't want to vote for it. I don't want anything to do with Donald Trump. I'm not even going to vote for it. And that's kind of what I feel is happening. I just feel like it's kind of been at the bottom of the pack, and I don't think it's very, very much progressing. It's not going up, but it's not dipping either. It's just a bit kind of out of the conversation, out of the loop. But personally, I thought it was wonderful. But yeah, I'm going to go out on the limb and say Timothée Chalamet will win. I think Adrian Brody was the best performance of the year. I think Sebastian Stan was probably the best performance of the year as well. I think those two are at the top. But I think Timothée Chalamet is going to win. The trajectory of A Complete Unknown is too good. It's too good to deny. And yeah, I just think it's a very good performance. I do think Ralph Fiennes is like along the lines of Timothée Chalamet as well, just slightly under those two other performances that I mentioned. But I think Ralph Fiennes doesn't have the support. Domingo doesn't have the support, so Chalamet, I reckon he might just edge it. But I'd be very happy if Adrian Brody won it. I think his performance was. I would scream if Sebastian Stan, but he will never win it. Right, so let's move on to Best Actress in a Leading Role. So we've got Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, the Ozdos ballroom scene where Ariana Grande. Her character has this horrible hat, and she's like, I don't hate anybody enough to give this hat to them because it's so horrible and ugly. And then she sees Cynthia Erivo's character, Elphaba, and she's like, I'll give it to Elphaba. So she gives it to Elphaba, and she's like, come to this school party, this ball. And so Elphaba goes, and Ariana Grande knows that she sort of tricked her into wearing this ugly hat, and she's going to get there and everyone's going to laugh at her. So Ariana Grande gets there, but then she's asked by this teacher to join this very, very this special class to learn the special magic, I guess I can say. And it's all because Cynthia Erivo's character sort of vouched for her, and that's the only reason she's in this special class. And Ariana Grande is like, oh no, she did a really nice thing for me. She got me into this special class, and I've been a bitch, and I've given her this ugly hat. She's going to come in and everyone's going to laugh at her. And then in walks Cynthia Erivo, and the music kind of stops, and everyone looks at her and laughs because she's got that stupid hat on. And she walks into the middle of the dance floor. Ariana Grande feels really bad, and Cynthia Erivo walks in, and I'm mentioning this because I think this was the best bit of acting, in my opinion. Great performance. She walks in, and she starts doing this weird dance. It's not conventional dancing in the Land of Oz. It's just strange. It's disjointed. It doesn't look too rhythmically. It doesn't look very good, really. But she puts it on. She does this dance. And people are laughing at her because it looks bad. But she is putting up a front. And Cynthia Erivo does this so well. She wants to act brave. And there's a bit where Jonathan Bailey goes, wow, she doesn't give a shit what anyone thinks. And Ariana Grande quite rightly recognizes, as we recognize as the audience, yes, she does. She just pretends not to. And it's heartbreaking. And the music is heartbreaking. and it's this brave face, but it's somebody who wants to cry, but she won't cry, and that's a sign of great acting, right? To not do the thing that you want to do, because that's what we do in real life. Whenever you want to cry, you try your hardest not to. In real life, you don't want people to see you do that, so you try not to cry. You know, you try to stifle your laugh. People always try to to not do the thing. So when an actor does a thing, I'm like, come on. In real life, you wouldn't do the thing. You try and hide it because everybody's a little bit self-conscious about things. And that's what Cynthia Erivo is doing here. She's hiding the fact that she wants to cry. A lesser actress might just cry there. She might be crying whilst dancing, but she doesn't. She puts on the brave face, but you can see she wants to cry. And then Ariana Grande steps up and starts dancing with her, this weird, awkward dance. And still Cynthia Erivo is putting on a brave face, but she so wants to cry that just a tear comes down, just one. And you can see her lip like she wants to cry, but because she's such a good actress, she holds it in, and that makes it sadder. As Ariana Grande sort of wipes the tear from her face, and she's like, I've got you. I know you're trying to put on a brave face. I know you don't want to cry in front of everyone. Let's just keep dancing. And the sisterhood between these two is formed at this moment. And it's so beautiful. And it made me cry. Because it's like, this girl, she just wants to cry. She just wants to be accepted. And the only person who's accepting her is the person who hated her the most. She came onto the stage, wiped that tear away, and Cynthia Erivo is just like, just sniffling in. She's never going to give it to us. Like, we want her to cry so bad in that moment, but she does not fucking give it to us. And that is such great acting. It's so good. And I think... to me, I think she's the third best performance of the year. After all that, I think she's the third best performance of the year. So I don't think she's going to win. But she's not going down in terms of popularity. I think she's pretty steady. The next person is going down. Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. So Carla Sofia Gascon in Emilia Perez has released some very, very, very bad tweets, let's just say, in the past. And so, even though she's been nominated for all these Oscars, everybody's like, oh, this lady was not a nice person at all in the past. And basically everyone seems to hate her now. And she's deleted her Twitter, and she's not coming to these award ceremonies at the moment. And she's not going to win. She did a good job in the movie, but she's not going to win. I have some thoughts about this. For one, I'm like, it's a bit annoying that the reason she's not going to win is because of tweets. Like, is this the award ceremony for the best tweet? Is this what this has like come, or is this the award ceremony for best performance? You know, like if it's the award ceremony for best tweet, just let me know. Then I'll start looking at everyone's Twitter more. I don't look at people's X or Twitter. You know? And apparently if you're not very good on Twitter, or you say something that people don't like, that means your performance was bad and you won't win. But, so that's one side of my brain. The other side of my brain is it's a subjective art form. And you go in and you watch a performance, and it's a subjective decision that you're making about their performance. And your subjectivity is it is affected by everything. Your subjective enjoyment of a performance is like if you haven't eaten before, you'll feel different about a performance than if you have eaten. You know, everything affects your subjective experience of what you're watching. If you're really, really sleepy, you might not enjoy a performance as much than if you're really, really alert and awake. You know, all these different things. So if you're going in to watch a performance and you know this person is horrible, it just will affect your opinion and enjoyment of an actual performance. So in that respect, I'm like, well, I guess they still are judging it on on what they experienced in terms of whether it was good or not, because there's no objective good acting or objective bad acting. It's all subjective, which just means it's all just opinion in the end. And your opinion is affected by absolutely everything around you, including whether or not you like the person. Unfortunately, that is just the case. So in that sense, I'm like, well, I guess, yeah, fair enough. But in the other sense, I'm like, we should try and forget about the tweets. We should try and forget if we're feeling really sort of uncomfortable or hungry when we're watching the film or really tired. We should try and forget if we're feeling really good as well. That might be making us think a performance was even better than it was. We should be as neutral as possible, but that's just not possible because we're living human beings and we are sort of affected by absolutely everything that is around us. There's so much stimuli, right? So it is what it is, I'm afraid. So Carla Sofia Gascon. But yeah, you've really damaged your career, and you've really you've made it like if what's her name, Zoe Saldana doesn't win, it'll be because of Carla Sofia Gascon, because she's just not a nice person. Well, at least she wasn't. Anyway, next, Mikey Madsen, Anora. This was probably my favourite performance of the year, I would say. I just think the performance was towering. There was so much vinegar to her. She didn't stop. She fought every second of that film for what she believes she deserves. The character was so realistic. The accent, the behaviour, the way the actress never judged her character that she was playing. It really felt like a character was loved by its actress. Whether or not it was it's loved by the world that she inhabits, obviously not. That she goes through a lot of shit, but the actress loves her, and I don't know a better way to describe it. There's no judgment of this character from the director, from the actor, from the writers. It's just, this is what this character does. Yes, she's a sex worker and exotic dancer or whatever, and you can have your opinions on that, but this character, the writers and director and the actress loves this character and does not judge her for it. The character can judge herself a little bit maybe, but we don't judge it. And yeah, and then as an audience, we don't really judge it. We don't really watch this character with judgmental eyes at all. And the character is, you root for this character so much, and she's got so much gumption and feist to her, and also putting on a brave front like Cynthia Erivo, and she's just a force of nature, completely believable. You know, if I ever spoke to Mikey Madsen, I would be expecting to speak to Anora. You know, no, she's not like that at all. But the character is so well inhabited and so loved that I just think phenomenal. And I think she is potentially going to win. Potential. But then we've got Demi Moore in The Substance. The mirror scene in and of itself was so good. Like, so much potential to win. She's probably Mikey Madsen's. I actually do think she just edges it. I mean, The Substance was such a good film, and her performance, she was born to play that. She's just perfect in the role. I'm just going to say the mirror scene. Like, go and watch that film and watch that mirror scene. The acting in that film is so relatable. The acting in that scene is like, I know in my veins what that feels like. And I don't even do that. I don't wear makeup, so I don't do that. But I just know in my veins what that feels like. It's so well portrayed. And then finally we got Fernanda Torres. I'm probably saying it wrong, for I'm Still Here. I haven't seen the film, but I've had a few comments in my last videos just saying some great facts about this lady. I'm going to watch the film, I think, next week. So I'm really excited to see it. But I think she's on the up and coming as well. I think we've got Mikey Madsen, Demi Moore, Fernanda Torres are right up there now. And Cynthia Erivo underneath them. And then Carla Sofia Gascon at the bottom. I think Demi Moore is going to win. That's what I've got. Demi Moore for the win for actress in a leading role. Let me know what you thought. I would love to hear your thoughts on the actor and the actress race. And yeah, Just tell me what you think about the AI controversy, about the Twitter controversy, and tell me that you loved Mikey Madsen and Nora, because god damn, that performance was as good as I've ever seen. Just as good as I've ever seen.